I'll tell you when we're live.
No.
We're live. Hold on. But we're not in. Like, I haven't sent the link anywhere yet, though, so no one's watching.
All right, this session is called into order. I will be motioning for a. All right. We don't need to be watching The Price is Right on in a Senate session. I will be calling the senators out to make sure we have a quorum for this session first, and I'll go by the order that is stated in the Senate documents. Mr. Bennett of Shoshone, not here. Mr. Coley of Superior, here. Mr. Cunningham of Cambridge.
Cambridge.
Hambridge.
Mr. Evans of Shoshone.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher of Superior, not here.
For 2 weeks.
That's a shocker. Mr. Romney of New Columbia.
Here.
Mr. Sanders of Cambridge.
Here, proudly.
And Mr. Scott of New Columbia.
Here, sadly.
Oh.
Very unfortunately. Okay, so I don't have a what was it that Senator Scott had the thing that the presiding officer has. But regardless,
The what?
hopefully I'll be able to
a
make by
gavel.
without it. Yeah,
I
the little
have a
gavel thing.
If
Hopefully
you need
I'll be
me
able to
use
make
Just
by
that,
without
literally,
it.
just get like a banger and then bang it against your table, Mr. President.
A banger.
Yeah.
A banger.
Yeah.
What's a banger?
I don't know. It could be literally anything.
A banger is a term
Banger is a
used by
term
people.
used by. Sorry, I almost said bad words while we're live. Continue, Mr. President.
Banger
Just
refers
get,
to sex.
Just get like a banger, like something to bang the table with.
What should I snap my fingers?
Maybe you can do a little dance move.
snap your fingers and say things in a
live.
rhythm.
All right.
Consider
All right.
Live on video
Everyone.
and then do a little jig.
Order.
The order in the chamber. Order.
Order in my Senate.
Water.
We will be discussing what this emergency session was called for, which was the events regarding Algeria and China, and specifically Western Sahara.
Correct.
So, for those who are not informed, the Algerian government has been thrown out in a coup d'etat, and the new government has stated its intentions or made it clear by its actions to align itself with the Chinese government. And this emergency session was called into order to discuss what we will do in response to it, what legislation, what we need to pass or authorize on behalf of the president to make certain we can respond to this threat with certainty that we can abolish the threat in Algeria, I suppose. So if anyone would like to
Mr. President,
speak now or to have the floor, they can go ahead.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Senator from Cambridge.
I assume that means I have the floor. I mean, I've just.
No, I have to recognize you. You have to.
Okay,
you have to
well, Mr. President, I seek recognition from the chair.
The senator from Cambridge is recognized.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President.
Cambridge.
Usually, I think, just reference, I think, just as we do these further, Mr. President should suffice for what we're doing here. Mr. President, the Senate GOP saw a very, very disturbing action earlier today and decided to take bold action on what we saw. We decided to write the Senate Algerian Resolution, better known as SAR. This resolution.
SARS-CoV-2.
This resolution will, China has tried yet again to expand its influence in the world, challenging our position as the world's superpower, holding it and every nation within together with relative peace. This resolution aims to address that expansion directly, offering a number of solutions to the crisis in Algeria, such as banning all natural gas from Algeria from participating in any of the U.S. markets, and hopefully the nations that join us in this efforts in their markets. It encourages the NSA to go after the potential terrorists that exists within the Algerian population here in the United States and abroad, so that we can fully protect our national security and the national security of our allies. It fully addresses and condemns China and the Algerian government for its actions today, and opens up diplomatic communications with the Moroccan government with a goal of assimilation of the Algerian state into Morocco, a goal which many in the United States and its national security sector have been hoping for and wishing for years. This is an opportunity to finally get some North African unification done, and actually some real action for the African people here in the region. It officially condemns the Chinese Communist Party, its worldwide influence as a direct counter to the United States and its standing on the geopolitical stage, and unfortunately, but necessarily, it puts in place a temporary, but again necessary, travel ban on any Algerian national until the National Security Agency can assure us in the United States Senate and the American people that every Algerian national has been cleared, and that there are no hostile Algerian people coming into the United States or in the United States. This is a sensible, strong, and clear resolution, which, I'm grateful for Senators Evans and Romney for standing up and helping write this piece of legislation. This is the solution, and we must. And I urge the Democratic leader, and I urge every member of the Senate here today to vote for this piece of legislation as quickly as possible, so that we can finally, once and for all, oppose communist China and get some real action in terms of unifying North Africa done. With that, Mr. President, I yield the remainder of my time to another member who helped write this piece of legislation, Senator Adam Evans.
Thank you.
The senator from Shoshone is recognized.
Thank you. Let me finish chewing. Thank you. Senators and the American people, this resolution goes much farther in regards to ensuring security in Western Africa as well as Northern Africa, and to ensure that nothing like the Arab Spring ever happens again. That instability in the Middle East, Northern Africa, Western Africa, and the world as a whole stays strong. That we put an end to OPEC's rule as the leading force in natural gas. We end this cartel so that nothing will ever happen to us like what OPEC pulled in the 70s to President Jimmy Carter, and to ensure that America stays the strongest country in the world and does not let China slip ahead. I hope that every senator will work and will vote for this resolution to ensure that our country stays strong and stable, and that we promote stability and peace in Western Africa without having to send troops in to put us into a war that we will never leave. And so I call on the Senate to pass this resolution, the House to pass this resolution, and President Cawthorn to sign this resolution into law, so that we can end the Chinese grip on Algeria, Northern Africa, and so that we can promote peace, stability, and democracy across the world. Thank you. I yield to Nathan Romney.
Does the senator from New Columbia seek recognition?
Yes, sir.
The senator from New Columbia is recognized.
All right, thank you very much. I won't really speak for very long because everything that really had to be said has already been said. But this is another example of the Chinese trying to expand their influence over the world. Early in my tenure here in the Senate, I spoke of Chinese checkbook diplomacy. It doesn't necessarily have to be something monetary. It could be exchange for straight up influence over another country. Now, financial influence is a main strategy of the Chinese, but they're sending troops to Algeria, as a result, we're in this situation right now. Look, this has the potential to be a proxy situation, proxy war between, the United States and China indirectly. We do realize that we cannot do this alone, not the U.S. and Algeria or Morocco alone. We have to get the French involved, especially the French, the European Union and the French involved because of their influence in the region in the past. An idea that I brought up would be to use vaccines, as a tool to our advantage. We give Morocco the vaccine, so all their residents, all their nationals are vaccinated. And we could kind of hold it up against the Algerians' heads. Like, look, it's either you're going to leave the Moroccans and Western Sahara alone, or you're not going to get any vaccines, and we're going to sanction you to hell. This is really all a greater battle between the United States and China. Well, this is a small battle in the Great War that is brewing up between the U.S. and China. And I know I sound very pessimistic right now, but we really have to be clear-eyed on this topic right now. The Chinese will not stop until they have control over this world. Their goal is to become the main superpower of this world and take our spot. And that will not happen. We're not letting that happen. That's why we are going to pass this resolution. And I encourage the House to go ahead and pass it. So I yield back for now to Senator Sanders.
Oh, thank you.
The senator from Cambridge is recognized.
Cambridge. Thank you. So, a lot of great points were made there. I think the greatest point that was made by Senator Romney was this is a small battle in the greater war against communist China. What is communist China's goal? It is to unify the world around a vision of the future which is oligarchic in nature. A vision of the future in which a small few have a large amount of power over the rest of the world. That is a situation which can never be allowed to occur in this country or anywhere else in the world. What we have done with this resolution, through our action with Morocco, through our action with the vaccines, a great idea which should be used in other diplomatic arenas that we are facing here in this 21st century. alongside all of this, is the force necessary to once and for all show the world that the United States will not accept an expansion of the communist China regime or any sort of regime like it. The United States, once and for all, will no longer stand for anything like that. That's what this resolution says. For too long, the United States has continued trade deals, has continued diplomatic action, and has been too kowtowish, too capitulating to the communist China regime and its allies. This Congress, the Ninth Congress, this Senate, led by the Senate GOP, will mark the final stand to that era of capitulation to the Chinese regime. China is no longer a developing country trying to rebuild itself after a civil war and a war with the Japanese and others, which had completely devastated its country. It is no longer that country. It no longer needs permanent trade relations status. It no longer needs any of the aid that we give it. And as a result of us not ending that capitulation, now we see its expansion into Algeria. I am so proud to be a small part of the Senate GOP, which is taking the boldest action we've seen yet against China and against what we had let come to a head in Algeria. This is a serious situation that must be addressed with this resolution, but not just this resolution. I hope that the president also understands that after we pass this resolution, everything is in his hands. Without a Secretary of State, he has the full and total diplomatic power of the United States behind him with this resolution passed. And that means he must use every bit of power given to him as the President of the United States to work with the Moroccan government to assimilate Algeria into its borders, but not just that, to unify the European Union, Italy, and others to join us in this resolution to keep Algeria's natural gas out of the market, and then open up the conversation with all of those nations, including Morocco, including a unified North Africa, on what a final solution to this Chinese communist threat is for the world. I have faith in President Cawthorn that he will get it done, and I think he understands the importance of getting it done. But this is a very sensitive issue that must be dealt with courageous political and diplomatic action that we have not seen from an American president, from an American Congress, or from, frankly, any American politician since the 1960s. With that, Mr. President, I motion for the Senate Algerian resolution to be brought forth, motion with unanimous consent to be brought forth to the Senate floor for an immediate vote, roll call vote on the legislation.
If there are no objections, the motion will be gone through with. The senator from Cambridge. That would be Senator Cunningham. That would be Senator Cunningham. He is currently speaking in the channel, the Senate chamber channel. All right, the senator from Cambridge has objected to the motion. If Senator Scott would like to, or the senator from New Columbia, Senator Scott, would like to speak briefly before we move that motion to a vote, He may now.
What I want to say is more relating to the bill. It's not to the motion, so he can go ahead and then I'll speak during debate on the resolution. Or now, either one.
I think
It would probably be more convenient
I'm pretty sure this is debate on the bill.
if we
so
if we
you
voted
should-
on
you
the
should
motion.
you should go ahead, Aaron.
Okay.
If you are speaking about the motion
If we vote
that
on-
we're about to have, then go ahead. But if it's something completely different to that,
I'm
then
relating
go
to
ahead with
the
the vote.
resolution.
then
Okay,
yeah,
so
you
we're
should
technically-
speak now.
Yeah.
So I go ahead?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I didn't plan on speaking, but I read a story about a man named Omer Bakali, a Muslim, and I'm going to butcher this, Uyghur. And I wanted to tell his story briefly to show just what the threat of China really is. Mr. Bakali is a father of three, and he was heading to North China to participate in an international trade exposition, an event that typically draws in millions. During a short visit with his family in nearby Turpan on the morning of March 26, 2017, policemen showed up at his door to arrest him, beginning an eight-month journey of unending physical and psychological torment. He says they shackled my hands and put black fabric over my eyes. He felt his body tremble whenever he remembers this moment. To this day, he still trembles. He was born to Uyghur and Kazakh parents in Xinjiang, a semi-autonomous region in North China. And for centuries, it has been home to Uyghur Muslims that make up just half of the population and hold a distinctive culture, religion, and language to the country's majority ethnic Han Chinese. President Xi Jinping announced a people's war on terror, fighting regional terrorists and, quote, separatists, unveiling a new era of mass surveillance, police presence, and arbitrary imprisonments of Uyghurs in Xinjiang. After he was arrested, Mr. Bakali was thrown into a small cell where he was kept for a week with no explanation. The room was built for 12 people but contained well over 36 individuals who, like him, all had their arms and legs constantly shackled. Eventually, he was transferred to another police station where he says the authorities subjected him to 4 complete days of torture. He says, quote, "My feet and my hands were tied up with iron shackles, and they beat my hands, they beat my feet, they beat my back and my stomach. They put needles in between my nails and my fingers, and put iron sticks into his organs." He says he was put into a tiger chair for long periods, a metal seat contraption that restricts movement. Police hung him from the roof of his cell by his wrists so his feet could not touch the floor and smashed his knuckles like hammer instruments. He says those scars are still there. He thinks his job, which lent itself to significant regional travel, had aroused the suspicion of authorities and provided them with the perfect excuse to accuse him of terrorist activities. He said, quote, "I did not confess anything because I hadn't done anything. Maybe they thought after torture I would just confess to something I had never done." Eventually, he was moved to a nearby prison camp, spending 7 months locked up with no access to lawyers, his family, and no explanation for his arrest. In November of that year, he was transported to his final destination, arriving at what China has called a re-education camp. 4-meter walls and electric fences surrounded the complex, Mr. Bakali recalled, with armed guards patrolling the camp at all times of day and night. He says inside there are 40 people to a 16 square meter room. Prisoners as young as 15 and as old as 80 are put in these cramped cells. Occasionally they're moved into larger rooms, but no one is allowed outside. 24 hours a day, prisoners are shackled. Iron chains are tied around their neck, fixed to loose iron blocks that Mr. Macaulay says weigh around 8 to 10 milligrams, forcing prisoners to always be hunched down. He thinks this is just one of the ways in which the camps are designed to instill a submissive posture in prisoners vis-a-vis their captors. He says, quote, "I stayed in that room with lots of different people. Some of them are business people, historians, school professors, writers, singers. They speak much better Chinese than Chinese people themselves, and they have more money than Chinese people themselves. They don't need to be re-educated." End quote. On a typical day at camp, he says, inmates were woken up at 5 a.m. and given a meager serving of bread and soup, and forced to repeatedly sing songs praising the Chinese Communist Party, stressing China's greatness, and showing gratitude towards Xi Jinping. He says, quote, "We sing from when we wake up in the morning to lunch, and after lunch, we do nothing else but eat and praise the Chinese Communist Party." They're constantly warned about 48 characteristics considered hostile to the Chinese state, including growing beards, praying, and religious charity giving. The aim of these drills are clear. Become Han Chinese, forget your religion, forget your culture. And if you don't listen to them and you don't recite Mandarin songs or roll your eyes or show just a little bit of discontent with this process, they will torture you. He often expressed discontent with his arrest and found himself tortured again. He says he was beaten half to death and made to stand facing a wall for 24 hours without food or drink on some occasions, put in what he called a tiger chair for a day and others, or simply placed in solitary confinement in rooms lined with plastic, intended to avoid suicide risk. He says the Chinese government calls them re-education camps. Actually, there are no re-education camps. All are concentration camps. After 20 days, he was finally released. His wife had sent endless letters to the UN and the Foreign Ministry of Kazakhstan, where he was previously naturalized. He says this is a strikingly different picture to the one that China has painted. He claims that claiming that the camps provide vocational training and that prisoners can leave at any time and that operations are scaling down. But a report released found China has built almost 400 new camps since 2017, while new testimonies have emerged alleging slave labor, forced sterilization, and organ harvesting taking place in camps. He says their goal is just to exterminate all Uyghurs in one way or another. China's labeling of his community as terrorists is a political game, stressing we are not violent, we are not radical. This Congress, in 2019, passed laws and resolutions condemning these imprisonments. 23 countries issued a statement to the UN last year denouncing China's actions, but were met with counter-statements from over 50 mainly Muslim-majority nations who defended China's human rights policies. He says, "I want to make it clear that the Uyghur genocide is not just about religion. It's a test for humanity, for the whole world. I hope the international community takes more drastic actions." And frankly, they deserve better. We must hold China accountable. These things that China do, they act and they paint a portrait of an ideal utopia when they are far from it. No developed country would treat innocent human beings the way they have. You know, it seems that they try to paint a picture that Mr. Jinping, the president of China, is a democratically elected leader. Folks, I think we are seeing Hitler-esque behaviors. No, I don't think, I know. Because these are concentration camps, and we cannot stand for it. It is un-American, and those people deserve better. Some will argue it is no business of the United States to interfere in China. Yes, it's bad, but we don't have a responsibility, a duty to do so, to intervene and say, no, this isn't right, and hold China accountable. If that is not enough, then what is? With that said, I would like to yield the remainder of my time to the majority leader, my colleague from Cambridge, Senator Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
The senator from Cambridge is recognized.
Thank you. I truly don't even really have words after what Senator Scott just said. Those were powerful words that should be heard by every American. That is why we fight. That is why we must pass this resolution. This resolution is a step towards ensuring we can deal with this Chinese threat. It's not about the United States staying on top of the world. It's not about feeding our ego, our nation's ego, or our own as politicians and statesmen who care about the United States and want to see it as the number one. It's about the human rights issue. It's about the moral crisis that is allowing China to continue this and its practices across the world to the point where we're seeing it in the shores of North Africa on the coast of the Mediterranean. Enough is enough, and it's time we vote for this resolution. As I understand it, the minority leader would like some time, and the PPT will be reading out his statement. I look forward to seeing that statement. I see he's typing right now, and I would hope that the objection that he put forth to the unanimous consent motion to vote on this resolution would not be an objection to the resolution. I think this is a very sensible bipartisan resolution that everyone can support just because of the moral crisis that it is. But that he objected so that he could put a speech forth. I think no matter the party, this should not be made into one of those partisan punching bags that issues often become in American politics. We just heard Senator Scott outline why this is a moral catastrophe for this nation, the world, and China. That's a moral catastrophe that I think we can all understand and we can all sympathize and empathize with. It doesn't matter your religion, your race, your gender, or your creed. This is about what we choose to be as a civilization living in the richest time in the history of the planet with as many resources and technology that we have ever had. What are we going to do for the people who need help? What are we going to do for the people who cannot fight for themselves? That's why we pass this resolution. That's why we pass the economic agenda that we do. That's why we do what we do here in the United States Senate. With that said, I yield the remainder of my time to the minority leader, Senator Henry, the minority leader, and my friend from Cambridge, Senator Henry Cunningham.
The senator from Cambridge has sent me his speech regarding his objection, and since he does not wish to read it aloud, I will be speaking for him. And I want to preface that these are not my beliefs. These are this is the speech of the senator from Cambridge, Senator Cunningham. Quote, I agreed that communist China is expanding their influence and is committing horrible human rights violations in the name of imperialistic and disgusting state communism, but I do warn that the United States of America should not be entertaining or pushing for a new Cold War with the People's Republic of China, which will have ugly consequences for the people of the United States and the people of the world. I want to come out and say that I will support the resolution that we are debating, but on the basis of achieving peace and an agreement between the disputing powers involved in this dispute. The President and the White House with this resolution, if passed, should not use it in a excuse to push for aggressive and hawkish foreign policy, seen in the past decades regarding the other powers the United States of America has invaded or dealt with. I stand by the people of freedom and peace, and that peace should be the only thing in the mind when resolving that dispute. That's why, Mr. President, I will support this resolution and that I yield the floor. End quote. Thank you, Senator from Cambridge. If we have no further statements, I will move this motion or this objection to a vote, unless the Senator from Cambridge wants to retract it. The Senator from Cambridge is recognized. Thank you, Senator Sanders. Since the senator from Cambridge, Senator Cunningham, has not retracted his motion of objection or his objection to the motion, we will be moving to a vote on the legislation. First by roll call and second in the Senate voting channel. Senator Cunningham is typing in the chat right now, so I don't know if he has anything to say about that. I guess not. So we will be moving first by roll call vote, and then we will be voting in the chamber. We'll be voting on the motion to vote on it first. Just for clarification. First, Mr. Cooley of Superior, aye. Mr. Cunningham of Cambridge. Aye. Mr. Evans of Shoshone.
Aye.
Mr. Romney of New Columbia.
Aye.
Mr. Sanders of Cambridge. Mr. Scott of New Columbia.
Aye.
The motion passes with 6 votes in favor and 2 absent. The motion shall now be moved to a vote and roll call. Or not the motion, but the piece of legislation shall now be moved to a vote by roll call. Mr. Cooley of Superior, yeah. Mr. Cunningham of Cambridge, aye. Mr. Evans of Shoshone,
Aye.
Mr. Romney of New Columbia,
Aye.
Mr. Sanders of Cambridge, and Mr. Scott of New Columbia.
Aye.
The Senate Algerian resolution has passed with 6 in favor and 2 absent. The bill shall now be placed in the Senate voting chamber for it to be voted on. And from there, it will be transmitted to the record. Since the emergency session was called for this issue in particular, the Senate will adjourn if nobody has any further issues they'd like to speak on or any further legislation they'd like to introduce or talk about
Mr. President.
with the chamber. The senator from New Columbia.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now that we have, and thank God we did, pass this resolution standing up against China, I would like to bring forth SRES 3, which I am introducing with Senator Evans and Senator Sanders, which has been referred to the Oversight and Rules Committee, but I would like to bring to the floor directly. So my motion is to bring this resolution to the floor directly. This is to expel.
Can the senator from New Columbia link this resolution in the Senate chamber?
This
All right.
is to expel Senator Gallagher of Superior for inactivity. It is fairly short, but I think, and if you don't mind me briefly speaking on, I know it's not a concurrent resolution. This is just a Senate resolution. If you don't mind me speaking briefly on why I've written this resolution, it's become clear. I know it has become clear to me, and I'm sure a lot of my colleagues have expressed the same uh, thinking that, with respect, Senator Gallagher has not been able to fulfill the duties of his office. He has not been able to. Um, we cannot. Um, I'm sorry. I was reading the chat and I lost my train of thought. I'm close that out. Um, Senator Gallagher has not been able to commit the time to this body that is needed to be an active senator, to be an active part of any government, really, but especially one as integral as our legislative branch, the greatest body in the world, the United States Senate. Mr. Gallagher has been absent from this meeting. He has been absent from every session that has been held. He had, not just in this Congress, but in the previous one where I was President Pro Tempore. And it's not just that. Mr. Gallagher had put up a post, and someone can find it if they'd like to see it, explaining his inactivity, that there was a family issue, which I'm sure we can all have respect. If there is a real life problem, that obviously takes precedence over an online election simulator. However, a few days is excusable, weeks is not. And I decided to move forward with this resolution. I had been thinking about it for about a week or so, but I did not want to take this drastic action unless it was needed. But it became clear to me that I was not the only one feeling that Mr. Gallagher was inactive and impeding on the business of the Senate, which is why I am placing this resolution on the floor, and I hope that you all can agree that Mr. Gallagher is not committing the time needed to be an active member of this body, and we push forward this resolution so that we can bring in a new senator, whether it is a Republican, a Democrat, independent, no matter who they are, someone who is active and committed to this body. And I yield back.
All right, then. Does anybody object to the motion to put this to a vote? Oh, and can the link be placed for this resolution in the Senate Chamber channel?
It already was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. Okay. So I assume nobody has any objections. Then the motion to vote on it passes with unanimous consent, and it shall be moved to a vote. First, a roll call vote, and then a vote in the Senate voting channel. What? You mean the resolution? Okay.
I object. I think that we should have an on-the-record vote, so that way senators can be held accountable, whether they are choosing activity or partisanship.
Yes, that is correct. First, we have. So I assume with the motion to vote, we also passed a discharge resolution. So I assume nobody objects to the idea that we discharge it from committee to the full chamber. We did a motion to put it to a vote on the floor, but that's not exactly a discharge resolution. But since nobody's objecting now, there's no problem with it. But regardless, we do have to vote on whether to pass it with unanimous consent or to just simply put it to a vote. No, if it was a it wouldn't be an anonymous ballot. So you're changing your motion. Well, if it was passed, all right. If the unanimous consent motion passed, then the bill itself would pass. All right. Regardless, we will be moving to a roll call vote on the anonymous ballot motion.
Point of order.
You mean point of inquiry?
Whatever. Same thing. I don't know. Anyway, my question is a second needed for the motion?
No.
Okay. I just want a clarification on that. Thank you.
Regardless, we will now move with the roll call vote. Mr. Cooley of Superior, nay. Mr. Cunningham of Cambridge. This is the motion for an anonymous ballot regarding the expulsion vote for Senator Gallagher. And Mr. Senator from Cambridge, can you mute yourself so I can speak as the presiding officer alone?
Ooh.
Charlie. Mr. Senator, or Senator Cunningham from Cambridge, did you hear what I said? And what is your vote? Okay. Mr. Evans of Shoshone?
Aye.
Mr. Romney of New Columbia? Mr. Romney of New Columbia?
I voted aye.
You did not, but we will count that. Mr. Sanders of Cambridge?
Aye.
And Mr. Scott of New Columbia?
Nay.
The vote is 4 in the affirmative, 2 in the negative, and 2 not or 2 absent. The motion does not pass. And we will be moving to a full body vote. Well, actually, we'd have to, it's 4-2-2. There would have to be someone to break the tie, but the vice president is not here. And so the Senate rules give me the power of the vice president in his absence, and so I vote no when breaking the tie.
Hold on, Mr. President, point of parliamentary procedure or whatever that is. I must challenge that. I don't think in any precedent has the president pro tempore gotten a second vote simply because he retains the powers of the vice president.
I didn't get a second vote. I did not get a second vote.
That is well, then what is you voting twice? You voting for
breaking the tie.
That was you voting twice, sir. So that was a second vote. You just got to decide what happens with that bill because you took the. I mean, even Charlie is.
Regardless, there is either no tiebreaker, and we simply and the resolution simply does not go anywhere.
If there is no tiebreaker,
then the motion
the bill
stays on the
fails,
table.
or the bill, resolution, motion, whatever fails, unless you get a tiebreaker. If there's no tiebreaker, then nothing can be done.
Regardless,
So you cannot pass it.
regardless, it fails.
Okay, then you could have just left it as at that.
The reason I left it at that is
Happy,
because
happy,
I wrote.
happy, 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 happy. Everyone
Thank you,
is
Senator
happy.
Evans, for breaking rules regarding the
Thank you,
voice session.
thank you, Senator Cooley, for being a bastard.
So
Yeah, and you're not
regarding
breaking rules by giving
regarding
yourself 2 votes.
regarding the tiebreaker vote, considering I wrote the rules, it says regarding the let me find it. The Rule
regarding the-
3
true.
on Senate leadership, that the President pro tempore shall assume all duties of the President of the Senate in their absence. And so regarding
shall we call you
the
Mein
tiebreaker
Fuhrer?
vote, huh?
Shall we call you the Fuhrer?
Yeah, we should. The tie breaking a tie, in fact, makes me the unanimous ruler of the Senate. Regardless, I don't care enough to make a point out of this. The vote to pass the resolution shall
Quran is in the chat.
go to a vote of the entire chamber.
Oh, he can't join. He's useless. I mean, yeah, it's fine. Sure.
I mean, y'all could have had.
No, we don't want you. Joking. Oh, he votes aye. Okay, he broke the tie.
Okay,
Dude, just flip a coin.
Oh my!
that's really
fucking
funny.
God.
That's really funny.
Oh my
Okay,
me and
Okay.
Adam and
See,
Robert
this is
went
why
on a
this is why you
rampage
can't
Okay.
assume
3
the
minutes.
fucking vote. That's just legitimately
All right.
why.
all right. Since the presiding officer decided to, or the presiding officer now assumes that tie-breaking duties, everyone can now message me their vote, and we can go forward with this expulsion vote.
Pass unanimously. We could have just had motion of unanimous consent, and everyone would agree to it.
Yeah, we could have voted on the unanimous consent objection, but
Wait,
regardless,
so if we want him expelled, what do we send you?
aye, or yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, I just got a bunch of DMs instantly, and the motion has already passed, or the resolution has already passed.
That was easy. Somebody.
Bow,
Five.
bow,
5 in the affirmative and 4 absent.
bow.
Actually,
We are
6.
currently waiting on 1 in this session to ballot their votes.
6 is needed to pass. It's a 2/3 majority.
That is hold on.
That's per your rules.
It's 6 out of 8, but regardless.
Right, 2/3 majority.
That's a
You
3/4
smart.
majority. That's a 3/4 majority, but
Oh my gosh! What the fuck?
I'm going based on your rule book, so you actually.
regardless.
You
My
is
9
smart. You
was
is
so much
kind. You is important.
You know what?
6 out of 8.
Now, can't
6
deal with
out
your
of 8.
Mac,
It's very fair to mute
This
the
is so
PPT.
good.
That's very fun.
Oh,
That's very.
God.
All right.
Adam,
Anyways.
isn't it funny?
I never.
I'm not sure why you're referring to yourself, Senator from Shoshone.
I didn't. What? I can't mute you. I'm not a moderator. Are you
Anyways.
disoriented? Like, have you been taking pills from Purdue Pharma and like as a form of lobbying?
or David
Are-
Purdue. He
Are
makes
you
it-
on OxyContin?
Yeah, I'm high right now. As a matter of fact, I need a vote from. I need a vote from the remaining senator.
Let me guess. Cunningham.
Oh, he says he's confused.
It's anonymous,
Well,
Senator
maybe if
Scott.
you would open your mic and talk, you would not be as confused. Yo.
It's anonymous, Senator Scott. I can't
I did not
disclose that
know.
information. All right. we do not have a 3/4 majority to pass this expulsion, and so we will have to wait on the remaining 2 senators.
Hurry the fuck up, Henry.
Did he vote no? Partisan damn.
It's an anonymous ballot. I can't release anything.
Okay, I mean,
Well,
you
I've
kind
already gone in the general chat, said that Mark was expelled. So let's just honestly, if he's not, let's just say he is.
We have to wait
I just took him
on
out.
what's his name. We have to wait on Harry to vote on this expulsion.
Oh, fuck me.
Come on, good new crowd. We're gonna be waiting a week.
Fuck me.
Either that or Mark. Either that or Mark votes.
I'm
for his
gonna
own
start
expulsion.
spamming vote.
Let me go ahead and delete my message.
Aaron, that's what I did to get the vice president to vote just now.
So, thank you, Connor, for passing this unanimous ballot motion. That really helped us.
Unanimous ballot.
Get him.
Yeah, unanimous ballot.
Anonymous ballot.
Dumb bitch.
I only missed.
I have a
I only
motion.
forgot- I only forgot 3 letters in anonymous.
Mr. President, I have a motion.
Can we fucking adjourn?
I have a motion, piece of shit.
All right, it's getting late.
I have a
I'm
motion.
tired.
Senator
This is my
from
last vote.
Shoshone.
Thank you.
Folks, it's 1 a.m. on the East Coast.
Mr. President.
I
Mr. President, I have
already
a
recognized- I already recognized you.
I know.
That's why you kept saying, Mr. President.
Mr. President, today I'm introducing this motion to help ensure that the process of the using our rules as a parliamentary body is put more effectively. And so I'm proposing a motion to amend Rule 3, Section 2 of the rules to read, quote, "The President pro tempore of the Senate shall assume all the duties of the President of the Senate in their absence." This is the edited part. This does not include the tie-breaking vote ability to avoid any elected senator receiving more than 1 vote. Other duties include assigning senators to the various committees established in this rulebook, organize hearings for nominees which require one, stating the result of a vote by the entire Senate body after it has taken place, appoint the President absentia and Sergeant-at-Arms, and that concludes it.
Mr. President, I have 2 things to say.
The senator from New Columbia.
Thank you, Mr. President. 2 things. 1, these chairs that we're sitting in, they're impeding on my hips and they hurt. I might have to see a psychiatrist for my hips. I don't know what he or she will say, because that is not their profession. But I'd like to get new chairs. Preferably those like bouncy ball ones.
The yoga balls.
Yeah, that thing. The blow up ones. And then the second one being I wanna go to sleep, so can we leave?
Right, I'm missing my Chris Cuomo reruns.
You don't need to see that.
Yeah. Criminal.
All right.
Motion
So
to
wait,
adjourn.
yeah,
my
since,
motion has to-
since
my
Senator,
motion has to go
since
first.
Senator,
Ugh.
since Senator, okay,
Thank you.
the Senate
Thank
is
you for
called into
trying.
order. The Senate is called into order. Since Senator Evans proposed a motion earlier, I will simply call a roll call vote to adjourn.
What?
And we will go by that instead of my authority alone.
That doesn't make
That
sense.
doesn't make sense.
So,
There's
Mr.
a-
Okay, it makes
Mr. Cool,
Evans has a motion on the table, Mr. President.
There's a motion on the table, so we can't adjourn.
Hey, you should probably be
O'clock comes,
sober
I'm
when
out.
you do these.
I said that since Senator Evans has introduced a motion, we will be voting on a motion to adjourn.
That doesn't make
Instead of-
no.
Yes.
No, we'll vote on my motion that I
Vote on this
proposed.
motion and get them to like leave. Like, no.
All right.
It'll take 10 seconds.
Or we could all leave and then figure that out, you know? Like that's also an
We'll have an
option.
instructionist.
That'll
Motion to
Right.
scream a little dream of me.
So let's go ahead and vote on my motion, am. And then we can vote to adjourn.
Who's Adam?
We could already be out of here.
Who is this person. I have never
What?
heard of him.
Sorry.
Why does the senator from Shoshone keep referring to himself? I'm pretty sure I'm not the only high one in this chamber.
No, I'm also very high. I will,
He's high in realization.
Regardless,
listen, it's legal in Shoshone, I think.
regardless,
On the
the
fucking
Senate
motion.
is called into order. I wish I had a gavel or something, but the Senate is called
This is
into
why
You
you
need
order.
to
should
beat your head
have
in with it.
It's my campaign. I made a big mistake. It should have been vote Aaron Scott for PPT. I own a gavel.
That's true. I would have voted for you if that was the case.
Okay, can we vote on my motion, please? Thank you.
A motion for unanimous consent regarding Senator
Can we do like
Evans'
a voice
motion.
vote?
Yeah, it's roll call.
Yes, yeah, please.
That's why we have a session.
All right.
Oh,
No, like who can scream louder?
Oh,
Senator Cooley of Superior, yeah. Senator Cunningham.
Oh,
Senator. All right. Senator Cunningham of Cambridge.
I drank an entire bottle of Pepto Bismol before this.
okay. Whose turn?
Henrold, vote. Harold, cast your vote.
All right. Senator Evans of Shoshone.
Wait.
I vote A in the affirmative.
Kentucky.
Thank you, Senator Evans, for clarifying that you're voting in the
I
affirmative.
vote in the affirmative. Aye, yay.
Senator Romney of New Columbia.
Aye.
Senator Sanders of
Aye.
Cambridge.
I don't want to be.
Jay.
Yes, I have two.
Amendment to the Senate rules.
Huh? No, Robert. No. Just vote aye so we can leave.
Aaron, let's go.
Because
let's go,
it's
Aaron.
not
They
because
won't-
it's not that
they won't
big
have
of
a
a
quorum
deal.
without
No,
us.
no vote.
He voted aye.
All right.
Okay.
Well, since all right.
My name is
Regardless, Senator Scott of New Columbia.
Yes.
All right. The motion is approved.
Mr. President.
And the Senate is adjourned.
Wait, Mr. President, real quick.
Thank-
Real quick.
Yes.
Senator Mestrovich placed a thumbtack on my screen,
Okay.
and now I need to go to the nurse's office. So thank you, Ivor.
The Senate is adjourned. Please end the live
Me
stream.
when Ivor used to run Senate campaigns unopposed